Hello, welcome to another tutorial in our tutorial series building a hotel website with Alora Web Editor. I'm Samuel Lighter Roberto Bimpong, and we are going to start building and preparing for our website. So the first thing we need to do is create a new project, and this project is going to be called Hotel Web. So we can start going ahead. We have Hotel Web, so we create web Hotel Web here. And what you have to realize is that Alora Web Editor doesn't limit you on the number of websites that you can build. So you can build as many as you want. Once you have licensed the software and you've paid for the yearly license, you just build as many websites as you want. Alright, so let's get started. It's very tempting to go straight into building our website, but we are not going to be tempted that easily. We are going to start the right way, and that's by creating a style template. So let's add a new template. We are going to name it style. First, we just do temp, and then we'll put style there. And put style guide or style, whatever. So we just name the template style. So we can go ahead and start working on the website. Let's go down there and then double click on style guide and start. We are going to click on this, and then we have our style. Now in the first place, we are going to look at backgrounds. Backgrounds are going to be white. No, not background, a gradient background. We are just going to do background color. So first we are going to delete the background here. We are going to talk about this later, and then we are going to reload and then have our website in. We are going to add another section here. And remember, because it's a style guide, it doesn't really matter if I add more sections here, because we are not going to import it into the design or use it for anything apart from building our stuff. So apart from building the elements that we need for our website, let's go ahead and just start looking at the things that we need to do. So first of all, let's launch our design and see. So first, what are some of the things that we need to make actions to make our work easier? We are going to make this thing actions, right, or section styles, because as a matter of fact, we need this font size, the color, we need it for sections, and we also need, we can actually save section styles for this website that we can use and make it responsive without stressing. We also need to create this button style, because at the end of the day, all the button styles are the same, and it will be very simple and easy for us to create this, and then we can just apply it anytime we need a button. Also, we can go ahead and look at a few things that we need to create actions for. So we need to create actions for the background colors. We need to create actions for these two colors, and these two colors I'm going to wing it because I'm not going to have the color code. I'm just going to change the colors as I build the website. Okay, so let's go ahead and then move on and then deal with this later. So these are basically the things that we need to do for our website for now. So let's go ahead and start. So we need a font. So in this case, we need to add a text here. Let's drag it anywhere we want. All right, let's drag it anywhere we want for now. And we are going to change the font family to Playfair. It's a Playfair display bold. All right. And then we are going to change the font size to 100. Right. Okay. So now that we have our text, let's change the color. To black. Let's write something from our website on it to see how it's going to look. So we have some words here, and then we can just go ahead and just deal with it. So we are saying luxury rooms. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at it. Luxury hotels and suites. So let's say luxury hotels and suites. Okay, So this is very interesting. This text is, I think, the right size that we needed. So we will need to create an action for this so that it's easy for us to deal with. Let's just push this back. Okay, so that's the first text that we need to deal with. Now let's go and take a look at other things that we probably need to deal with. Let's look at the King's Room. It's the same font as this. This is quite bigger, so this font is a bit smaller. So we need to create another text with a little bit smaller font than the one that we have in on the hero. All right, so let's go ahead by just duplicating this text because we have a few things done for it. Let's duplicate it, and then we bring it down and then reduce the size. So we're just going to say font size for this is going to be 90. That's fine. So we are going to have 90 for the rest of the fonts there. Okay, now we have to look at the font also for the headings. Let's take a look at the headings. Let's take a look at our design. You see, we have another font size for the headings and we need to do it. And that same font size is what we used for this text. So there's no need for us to deal with it anymore. Then again, we have another heading here. So we can do H1, H2, heading 1, heading 2, heading 3, heading 4, heading 5. And then we can go ahead. We have another heading size here. So we are going to deal with all these so that we can move ahead and then finish this quickly. All right, let's go ahead and finish this. So we are going to duplicate this and we are going to go ahead and write our headings are featured. Oops. Okay, so we are going to put in the font size of 60. So that works for us for that one, and this is very good. It's good that we have this done. So we are dealing with a text for the website, and as you know, we are going to create actions of this so that we don't have to stress ourselves doing it all over again. Now we have another font size that we need to deal with. So duplicated, we have this font size that we want to deal with, and that is let's look at heading inner. All right, so we are going to copy this. We are going to make this font more like 45. That's a bit too big, so let's make it 35. Right, so now okay, so we are continuing our work. As you can see, we've done quite a lot of things. We kept some things. I've just duplicated. What I've done here is just duplicated all the fonts here, and I've reduced the size according to the design that we have. So let's go ahead. Right now I have this one here, and I'm going to drag it aside. So now that we have this done, we are reducing the sizes of the fonts. The next thing that we need to do is to bring this one down here. Okay, so what we are going to do is send this font over here because that's what's next, and we are going to reduce the font size from 22 to 21, and then we are going to adjust the line height a bit so that we have a decent font over there. That's cool. So we are done with this font. We need to have another font which is smaller than this, probably 18. So we are just going to make it 18. We are going to make the font family Lato Light or more of Lato Regular because regular, and we are going to make the size 18, and we are going to give the line height 22, and then that is fine. So here we are going to have 8. So as you can see, we are still going ahead with the font sizes that we have. Let's just continue building our fonts. We are going to change the colors and make sure that everything is matching and everything works well. So as you can see, we've actually created the text. I don't actually need this text, so I'm going to delete it. Now let's go to the website and see if we've done all the text elements that we need to do, because we need to create actions for them. So we are done with this text, and as you can see, this text is a little bit smaller, so we will need to go a little bit smaller than we have right now so that we can match the design that was created. Now we need to create the room details. That's the button here, and the button, we have two types. We have the big one, we have the small types, right? And we have ones without the sign under. So we are going to create all those types of buttons, and we have to create this button here that we are going to use. Once we are done with creating all these things, we can go ahead and start building our website. We should also not forget the font color for these fonts, and we have to put it inside so that when we are creating the actions, we won't mix it and then we need to come and do all that again. So once we are done with this, we can start building our website very quickly. So let's go ahead. This font is still too big, so we need to reduce it from 40 . Okay, so what we are going to do is reduce the font size. Let's go ahead and reduce it a little bit down. Let's go ahead and see what we have on our website, the font sizes. So we have the first one, second one, third one, then we have the fourth one, then we have the fifth one. So we might need to add another text to this. All right, so let's just go ahead and add it. So now let's reduce the font size of this one. That's fine. Okay, then we are going to duplicate this, and then we are going to make it 40 or 35. Let's see 35 working, and this works for that works for us. Now we are going to go ahead and change the color. So we are just going to search for color. That works for us. Let's see. Let's go to the color and see what color that is. This one. Okay, so we can copy and then make it work for this. And then this is a bit lighter than that one, so let's get it done. So now that we have all these stuff settled, all these things settled for us, we can go ahead and save the actions and then start building our website. Now that we have the text settled, we can now create actions for each of the texts that we have here. But before we do that, before we start saving our stuff, let's create a few buttons for our website. The first thing we are going to do is just click this and add a button to it. So let's add our button. Now the button is to that far left. I just want to put it this way so that it's cool for us. So now let's just go ahead and then put in a new node called text transform. So we are looking for text transform, and we are going to capitalize all the text in the button. No, we are going to uppercase the text instead of capitalize. so that we have all the text in here in uppercase. Now we are going to make the font family Lato. Lato Light or regular. And we are going to remove the border radius and make it 0. And then we are going to save. Okay. After that, we are going to check the font size. It's 18, so we can leave our first button at this size. Let's go ahead and check what we have here. So this works for us. It's cool at 18. The first button is cool at 18. Let's type in the text. So we can type in the text from here or directly type it from here. So let's try this. Room details. And this is happening because we are not able to space it because we don't have the link node added. So we are going to have the link node added here. So link So we have our room details done for us. Let's look at the font size. This works for us. So we can increase the spacing of the text to match this as we want it to be. And we can see how we are going to deal with this. It's a bit bolder. The color is black. So we just need to change the color of the font to black. The color of the button to black. So let's go to color. Let's make sure we have a black color here. And then we would increase the letter spacing of the font. Alright, so this letter spacing is just too much, so 0.5. Alright, so let's increase. This works. Alright, and so let's see how it looks when it's done. It's quite okay. We can take this here, increase the letter spacing a little bit, and that is okay. So I think we can deal with this for now and later deal with other things. So what we need to do now is increase the font size a bit. I think we need to have the font size a little bit bigger than normal. There's our first text. As you can see, we would want to change the hover details for this. We want to reverse this. So what we'll do is just make the background color here transparent. And then when we click on this, let's go to our node options. We put the hover on. And then we click on the button to edit the hover state of the button. So we can just, instead of white, we are just going to make it this color, right? And probably bring it down a bit and save. So this is interesting. Let's just give it a refresh to see the changes. So this is it, right? Now, we're still not done. We really need to still keep the hover on. Let's see this hover changes. The color goes down. Let's make it black so that the color doesn't change. So we edited the hover state of the button by just going to our node options, right? And then clicking on the hover and then selecting the element you want to edit the hover state of. So you can see that we changed the color of this one, but the background was animating a little bit too fast. So we turn our hover state off and then click on the button to load the nodes. And what we added here was a transition duration and the transition property. We set it to all and the duration is 0.7. We can reduce it so that it's a little bit faster and then we can load it and then see the change. As you can see, it's a bit slower than how it used to be in the beginning. Now we have our button set. What we need to do here is add our last bit to the button. That is a background, that is a border to the okay, so let's add border to the bottom of the button. Okay, now if you look in our designs, this is not what we have. This is not what we have at all. You can see that the line under the button is exactly with the exactly the width of the button, and because of the padding here, we can't do that. But you know what, we can actually do something about this. Let's do something about it then. Let's reduce the padding to 0 from the left, and then to the right we make it 0. This is going to make our button look awkward, but then it's going to work for us. Now this, when you hover, you can see that this is not a pleasant look, and we can change this by going to the hover state and adding the padding to the right and to the left in the hover state. And let's see what we can have when we do that. So let's click on this section here, and then we are going to add the paddings to this place. So padding to the left and padding to the right. So we can make it as 25, and then we can make it 25 as well. Okay, now we can save, Ctrl S to save, and then we are going to turn off the hover state and come back to our design. Now let's see what happens. So when it's normal, when it's in the normal state, this is what we have. But then when we hover our mouse over it, it changes, and you can see that we can have our animation. We animate, or we transition from no padding to the left and right to padding to the left and right, and that gives us a simple, interesting animation, which we can change the function, timing, easing, and all those kind of things off, right? Okay, so now we are not going to bother ourselves anymore with those other details. Now I think the button looks okay, and then we can start using this for our website. So let's click on this button, and then we are going to duplicate it. Now when we duplicate this button, we would need to clear it. And we are going to give a margin to the top just for the display. We are not going to save this, but we are just giving it so that we can have the button looking good. Okay, now let's go to the next type of button. This is the big button. We have a small button here, and the same small button without the line under. So let's go ahead and just deal with this quickly. So we are going to select this now and reduce the font size, right? Font size of the button to 15 or 13. And because it's smaller, we are going to change the font family to Lato medium, Lato. Okay, so we don't have the medium, so we can just keep it this way, and then we are going to reduce the letter spacing for this so that we can have it a little bit together. All right, so let's make it 3, and then we can save that. So as you can see here, we have a smaller version of the button, but it still needs to be a little bit smaller, right? Okay, so let's go and look at our design, but we can even keep this what we have now. So it's small, but we can leave it this way because it's so. Let's change this so that we can have read more. So I think this works for us as the button with this works. All right, so basically we can have this done and dealt with. Now what we need to do is duplicate this duplicate this so that we can take the border out of there. So all we need to do for this version of the button is to delete the border bottom out of there, and then we can have our button saved perfectly. Let's go ahead and do that. So we have our button done, and that's interesting. All right, so let's duplicate it. Let's go ahead and then add a new section, because we are done with the various little things that we need to do for our website. Right? Okay. Now, building websites, all this is up to you, what you want to do. So we have various buttons that we are going to use for our website. Normally, if you are building this guide in order to help people who are going to use this website later on, what you could actually do is just label them. Just label each section so that the person will know what is supposed to be there. So here we have our text, we have our buttons, and we have elements in the next one. If we talk about elements, right, on the website, we have things like this block here, we have this block over here, we also have this block here. Those are all elements of building websites. And probably if we want, normally in a style guide, or what I would do normally is to create these basic elements in my style guide, have it responsive, and so that when I'm building my website, all I need to do is just put all these things together and then I'm done. Right? So it's very easy to deal with some of these things in your style guide and prepare for your website before you go ahead and start building. So that's exactly what we are going to do here in this tutorial.